So we're 27 days out, and I am pretty confident in saying that I'm not doing another bodybuilding show. So obviously, I've talked in the past about like, maybe I'll do another one. Maybe I won't do another one because there are times where like, oh man, I'm like, this is okay. And there are other times like this week where I was just like, yeah, this just ain't it, man. And it's largely because of a few reasons. So to start off, being in a caloric deficit, or at least in a prep that I decided to do this long, which is way too long in all likelihood, because I basically started at the beginning of the year, have been slowly cutting down. I started at 180 and now I'm down to 160. I weighed at 165 today. I had some higher sodium meals the past couple days, so likely some water retention, likely not probably fat gain because I was at 164 a couple days ago, but just some water retention differences. But being in a caloric deficit that long to get down to 165, 164 pounds to be at a competition weight, it's just mentally fatiguing. Especially in a job where my job does require a significant amount of mental energy, but also I just enjoy critical thinking. I enjoy having thoughts of like, oh, what about this? What about this? And like start connecting things or um just getting ideas and sitting down in the morning like today. So I had backstory, right? So this is the vlog aspect. My cousin graduated from undergrad yesterday. Went down to watch his graduation. Went to dinner with him afterwards. We went to a Mexican place, and I got chicken. It was basically chicken, veggies, rice, and a sauce. And the sauce probably had a little bit of cheese. And it was the fullest I've been in I I don't know how long. Like I have not felt that full in a while. And it was wonderful. Like I was like, oh my gosh, this is what it feels like to be full for once. And then I woke up today and I got up, I was drinking morning coffee, I was sitting with my cats reading my book. And I'm like, after a while, I'm like, my brain was just working. It's like, hey, what about this idea? What about this idea? Or, like if you were working on a video game, how would you work a database system? Or started thinking about protein, right? And protein consumption and protein quality and protein from different kinds of foods. And my brain was just like working through asking these questions like, hey, you should figure this out. And this week I just didn't have that. And to have that again, I was like, oh my gosh, this is what it's like to have just mental energy. And I love that so much more than bodybuilding. Like getting super lean, getting down to 163, 165 pounds. Yeah, it's cool and all, but doing it for as long as I did, going from 180 pounds down to 163, it's not fun. And I don't think I'd want to do it again. I don't think if I again, maybe if I win and get a pro card and can do the OCB Orton Cup, maybe I do it again just because it would be a cool experience to do. But like the mental fatigue that comes with it. I mean, if I did, I'd have, I would like, it'd have to take a month of maintenance because I just can't continue to do this. It's not fun to me. Um, and not just as, it's fun to see myself get lean. It's not fun to deal with the lack of mental energy. It's not fun to deal with the psychological fluctuations of increased anxiety, increase like small stressors is a much higher stress. Like what would normally be like, it's whatever, just is causing unreasonable amount of stress in my life, and I don't. It's not healthy. I think that not only is getting down to if I am again, I'm going to refer the DEXA scan I got last week. It said I have 7.4%. Say I am 7.4 plus or minus 0.4%. Like being 6%, like 7 to 8%, it's not really healthy. Like being below 10, you probably shouldn't be. 10 to 12% really where you should be. Um, Around 15 maybe is probably the most ideal. And I just don't. So to me, that's probably around 170 pounds. I like how I look at 170. I think there's still a level of leanness, but like it's not, I don't have the same psychological stressors as I did previously. And so, what I could just do moving forward, if I want to put on muscle or if I just want to live life, I can let myself get up to 170, like just keep tracking my weight up to 175. When I hit 175, like, okay, we got to get back down to 170. Like just plus or minus 5 pounds, no biggie. Like I know I can lose 5 pounds. Like if it's 5 pounds, just take 5 weeks and lose 5 pounds. Like it's, to me, that's not hard. To other people, it is difficult, right? It's, you have to get to that goal, and then you have to like start fluctuating and paying attention to your weight, and that's the really hard parts about it right now. And on top of that, it's also taking away some joy. Like to be able to go like I'm very stringent about the things I do, and that strictness is, it impacts other parts of my life. And I don't enjoy that. Not and to the people who do enjoy it, do it. But if you are thinking about doing bodybuilding and you are someone who might be high stress or have a naturally high trait anxiety, like myself, maybe think twice about doing bodybuilding because it could exacerbate these symptoms that you typically have. Now, again, I'm not a medical professional anymore. I am not a mental health professional anymore. So you should be aware of this. And I might have a couple studies to read that I found surrounding these concepts because I'm curious if other people deal with this. I know obviously individuals who are on exogenous hormones, like they get angrier, they get more stressed, they get um like they have a lot of like psychological impacts. And that's what I think I'm worried about for myself, is that like, not that I'm not on exogenous hormones, but like I couldn't imagine being on exogenous hormones where that could be a thing, and then also being a caloric deficit where like you already kind of like get more like you get more agitated and you get more stressed because, and it's now hindsight being 2020, right? Like I've thought about this. I know that I am someone that when I am hungry, I get hangry. Just is. Story time, actually. We'll do a little story about this because I've this was an issue in the past for me. My ex and I, we were hanging out. Um, we were celebrating her younger sister's prom. Her sister wasn't going to prom, but she wanted to wear a dress. She wanted to go get photos, and so it was like the family's going out taking photos with their places, and we, my ex at the time and I, we we were like, oh, like we'll do this, and then afterwards we'll go do these things. And I was like, in my brain, I was like, okay, that's fine. I love spending time with her family, so I was like, yeah, that's fine. Like we'll do this, then we can go. Well, the photos ended up taking longer than I was expecting, and I did not eat enough beforehand, and at a certain point I was like just grumpy. I was hangry, and it was not like I knew I was hangry, and so I just kind of like I was quiet. I was more reserved. And I was present, but I was more reserved, and and she knew I wasn't okay, and she's like, "What's wrong?" I was like, "Just I I'll be okay." And then we went to get dinner afterwards, and as soon, I mean, I kid you not, it was a Mexican restaurant. Or no, it wasn't a Mexican restaurant. It was like an Italian restaurant, and they brought out bread. And as soon as I had a couple pieces of bread, I don't know why I was upset. Like, there's no reason to be. And then I realized it's just like, no, I just get hangry. And we talked about it afterwards. And I told her I was sorry about how I was. And it was like, it's a realization that like for me, being hungry is not something I like. Like I get hangry very easily. So obviously, be in a caloric deficit for 5 months, it's just psychologically taxing on me. And when you have a stressful week at work, I lose a lot of mental energy. And so I get done with work and like I want to do more learning. I have side projects I want to work on. I have things I want to learn. I want to read research. I want to read NSCA's personal training book. I want to read exercise physiology. Like those are things that interest me and I want to explore them more and figure out what do I want to do next with my life, right? Because there might be I think there might be some opportunities at my work moving forward, which is not in exercise science, but also like maybe I'm going to be like when I went to undergrad and grad school, I did research, and I wasn't particularly interested in the fields of research that I did. So I was like, oh, maybe I don't want to do research. Like this isn't fun. But if as I'm sitting here reflecting with you in this vlog, I had to write a paper, very like a research prompt or a research submission essentially, and I put so much time and effort into that paper, and I loved it. Like I was like, oh my gosh, this is so much fun. Like I love this. Like I love reading this research and like having this goal and like working towards this prompt, like working towards this proposal, and I loved it. And now that I think about it, I really enjoyed that. So maybe that's something that I missed out on, especially given like my graduate level research. It just wasn't interesting to me. And unfortunately, I realized afterwards. I also think, I think that was in a position where I was not with my research advisor in person. And so I did not see them frequently. I did not see them often enough to have just open conversations about it. So that was I think, a big detriment to my experience as well. And he was a very supportive individual, but the lack of like face to face communications, the lack of him being 2 hours away in a different city than where I was, like my campus, he was on a different campus, and that just led down a bad rabbit hole for me. So I missed out on those opportunities. So my goal is moving forward is to finish out the year with a couple goals in mind. One, I have a bad habit of jumping from project to project. Just do. It's really bad of me because and I think a lot of people might be I think other people may be this way. I don't say a lot, but it's essentially that concept of like you start out not knowing anything. You start with the really easy stuff, and as it becomes more and more difficult, you reach that first real barrier of like, this is going to be difficult. And I have to break through that. And I typically just like, oh man, like I get to try real hard. And by having to try real hard, I'm like, well, and maybe I just do something else. So I'm setting a goal for myself of the rest of this year, I am going to work on one project. I have a project I started a couple weeks ago, maybe last week, 2 weeks ago, and I'm just gonna work on it. Give it a year, see where we're at. If we make progress, awesome, right? If we are at the end of the year, if I'm like, you know, this project isn't going anywhere, this project just isn't it, um, no, stop. I'll pick up something new, and then I'll dedicate. Like I need to start dedicating more time than what I'm doing, and I already did that a little bit earlier this year. Starting in February, I was working on a little battleship game. I worked on it for a couple months, and then I got anxious about AI. I was like, I need to diversify myself. So that's around the time I started doing YouTube videos, and I was like, I need to diversify myself outside of tech because I work in tech. I need to diversify myself outside of tech, just in the off chance AI actually takes jobs. Now, that's a whole different conversation and think piece, but so my goal, what I am going to hold myself to is to work on this one project, to just sit down and do it. My second thing is every week I am going to work on reading a research article. I want to read one research article a week. That's not a big ask. Research articles can be dense, they can be difficult to get through, but one research article a week shouldn't be a big deal. I should be able to do that. I did it before, I can do it now, and that is the intention. I want to try to like block them together. That way I'm not jumping from one thing to another because reading one research article by itself, as many people say online, one research article does not tell you anything. Well, it tells you just it gives you this much information. It should help just slowly start guiding your thought process, making you ask more questions like, "Oh, what should we look at next? What does this tell us and what does this lead us to need to do next?" And I think that's really important. Obviously, and so those are my two big things. I'm obviously going to continue um, reading just leisurely. I love reading. I love diving into a really good book. Working on the Stormlight Archive right now on book 3. It's so much fun. The characters are fantastic. I got to the point in the book where I'm just like, oh man, like I just kind of want to read. And today's Sunday. So I was like, oh, I could sit down and just do a bunch of like I have time. I could really crank out stuff because it's cold. I'm not gonna go outside. Or it's chilly. It's not cold. It's chilly outside, so I'm not gonna go out and like go someplace and walk around. It's just a little too chilly for that. I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'll just make today a fun day. I don't give myself enough of those, which, mind you, is something else I forgot I need to write down. Telling you first before I write it down is I'm also going to make sure that I have a fun day, like that I have a day where I just can be like, if I'm feeling it, I'll do it. If I'm not, I won't. I shouldn't say a fun day. It's just like a vibe day. Like if I'm feeling like on a Sunday, if I'm feeling like reading just my book for most of the day, I'm going to read my book most of the day, which I'm probably going to go do after this. I'm going to shower and I'm going to read my book until I'm like, don't really want to do that anymore. And then maybe I'll play some video games, or maybe I'll code, or maybe I'll read a research article, or like I'll just do what I want. Like I'll sit there, I'll give myself, and not necessarily let myself sit there too long, but just be like, what do I feel like doing? Whatever I'm like, yeah, this feels right. I'll go do it. And if I do it for 30 minutes, I'm like, okay, I'm done. Like just something like that. Not holding myself to sit down and do something, because that's what I do all week. I sit down and I work about 7:30 to 4:15. I work my job. I work out. I eat. And then I'm like, okay, time to go sit down to read exercise physiology stuff, or to sit down and code, or both. So one day a week, I'm gonna allow myself to, like on a week like Saturday or Sunday, if I can, when I have free time, I'm just gonna be like, okay, today for the next 8 hours, I'm gonna do whatever the heck I want. So that was a lot. I actually had a lot of more to say, um, but those are kind of the things that I felt like covering. I guess I'll finish off with some wins for the week. Actually, you know what? I am not going to do that. I'm going to make a video series about this. I'm going to try to find 3 wins from the week, 3 positive things from the week, and share them. Actually, I'll make it small. You know what? I keep thinking about it, and we'll make it a shorts. Just 3 things that were a win for me. Because I think we need more positivity in the world and on social media, because everyone is so negative all the time and I hate it. See, I shouldn't say I hate it. I strongly dislike that there's so much negativity, and I want to bring more positivity to people. I want to bring more positivity to people who watch this. Yeah, I want to bring joy to people's lives and not negativity. So, thanks for watching. If you made it to this point, I want to crowdsource something. If you have, so I love energy drinks. I have a request. Does anyone know of a non-energy drink carbonated beverage that tastes like an energy drink? Like, Lonnie News like have amazing flavors, and 3D Energy, my favorite, is amazing. Like these flavors. Does anyone know of one of something like that that doesn't have 200 milligrams of caffeine, or preferably no caffeine? So if you do have a recommendation for that, leave it in the comments, because I've been searching for something like that and I just can't find it. Some crowdsourcing here. So again, thanks for watching. If you made it to this point, you're the GOAT. Till next time.